So we fundraise from 3 different areas, from trusts and foundations, from corporates and from individuals. So those are 3 different areas. So you might be having a conversation with an individual who's very well off and wants to support theatre, and you might be trying to find out what really interests them and find out ways to kind of engage them in the work that we're doing. Or you might be speaking to a company and trying to find ways that they might want to again kind of work with you, expose their brand, kind of get their name out there. There's all different reasons why people might want to get involved. Well, it's really exciting when you work with a totally new company. I mean, so for example, we've just brought a company called Market on board, and it was you get a real I get a real buzz from sort of that kind of relationship coming off, because you start conversations, you don't really know if it's going to go anywhere, and you kind of play with lots of ideas, and at that stage it's quite creative as well, because you're kind of trying to come up with, you're trying to think about what interests the company, what's really going to make them want to get involved, how can you really sort of tap into what's important to them, and then try and come up with creative ideas and solutions. So I find that quite creatively stimulating, and then actually getting to the point where somebody says yes and gives you quite a lot of money, that's quite a good moment. Last year I was involved in a project which was part of the LIFT Festival, London International Festival of Theatre, and we worked with an Israeli theatre company who are an amazing company of deaf-blind actors, and I produced the project bringing them to London for a 3-week run, and we had to raise, I think it was about £350,000 in 6 months to bring them over, and it was a really small team. It was me and a few other very few kind of number of people working on it, and it was an incredibly intense period of 6 months of making this whole project happen. I left university directing, started as an assistant director at the West Yorkshire Playhouse, and then I worked on my own little shows for a couple of years, and I ran a company at the same time called Stage to Screen with some other friends that filmed live events. So that was kind of earning a bit of money on the side and then doing my directing. And then I was a finalist for the JMK Award in 2004, and at that point I decided not to carry on directing. I found it really stressful, and I also thought everybody else was brilliant in the room, and I just wanted to sort of start producing, and then long story short, got a job at the National Theatre in the development department. Even though it wasn't producing, I just thought it would be a great place to work. I mean, development's really a really good thing to get into. There's not that many really good people doing it, and if you carve out a niche for yourself, it's a really good thing to have behind you, and it's really useful for lots of jobs that you might end up doing that aren't in development. Having a bit of fundraising experience, even Despina, who's the producer here, she has a fundraising background. She has some experience in fundraising. Just try and go into an entry-level job in a development department. It's a really good way in, and you can work your way up, you can learn a lot, and they're very transferable skills, I'd say, to other departments.